This video is about Normani's image. Well, primarily it's about her image, but I will also be commenting on her recent issues and I will be giving my thoughts on how she can better her situation. Also, I'm not an expert on these things, I just want to share my opinion. With everything going on with Normani, I want to try to understand how the industry works, and if nothing else, I want to try to become a better fan and a consumer. So I've been watching videos on how mainstream artists are marketed and came across videos on artist development. What is artist development? It's basically how an artist sells themselves to the public. And to get more specific, artist development consists of an artist's narrative, an artist's image, their values, and their mission and purpose. In the past, this development stage was taken care of by the label. They would sign the talent and morph them into an artist that suits their authentic selves or to someone lucrative. Let's look at a pop R&B artist like Brandy. She debuted around 1994 and she was heavily developed, having a family-friendly image. Of course, it made sense. At the height of popularity, she was a minor, well, for the most part. Around 93, she started attending Hollywood Performing Arts Center. Somehow she landed a showcase with Atlantic Records and she got signed. After she signed her deal, she was on the Sophia, which was great for the audience to become familiar with her. She released her debut album, Brandy, in 94, which was critically acclaimed and was even Grammy nominated for one of its songs. So at this point, her image was very much girl next door, goody goody. Her sound was defined in her debut album, having R&B pop sound with a jack swing element to it. You know the signature Brandy. She doesn't sing too hard. You know, there's harmonies up the wazoo, you know. So after her first album, she would release singles for movie soundtracks in between her debut and sophomore album. Singles like Sitting Up in My Room from the 95 movie Waiting to Exhale, which by the way is one of my favorite songs ever, and Missing You from the 1996 film Set It Off. They were both very successful and it was a great way for her to stay relevant in the music game. And she had her sitcom, Moesha, in 1996. Her show kept her in the public eye, which helped her musical career too. Even when she wasn't dropping an album or a song, you know, people could still tune in every week to see her. And so she still stayed relevant. When she released her sophomore album in 1998, Never Say Never, it did very well, you know, and around that time, within a year span, she had two movies that came out. One of which was the iconic Cinderella in 1987. And, you know, in 98, she had I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And then I think later on in 99, she had a movie with Diana Ross. From 94 to 98, Brandy racked up a lot of accolades and she did very well. She was very successful, had hits, and she made her mark in the industry. Looking at her tactics, she always put out something consistently and she always stayed on the public's mind. And the public knew her personality very well and they knew her artistic identity very well. She had an established image and everything was great, you know, for the braids. I think when people think of her image, they think of the braids automatically, and she was very successful. Now looking at Normani, she was from a girl group, Fifth Harmony, from the American X Factor in 2012. So from her time on the show and being in the group, it helped Normani garner the public's attention. And after the group left the show, they signed with Simon Cowell and they struck a deal with Epic Records. And they started uploading cover songs on YouTube and even started collaborating with like major YouTube channels like Boyce Avenue. These covers were publicized by stars like Ariana Grande and Ed Sheeran. And soon after, the group released an EP, Better Together, in October of 2013. And supported the EP with mall tours and all these mini supportive tours. I can't believe mall tours were still relevant back then. Like, that's so 90s, you know? So let's just do a quick review. The group was on X Factor for most of 2012. They signed their deals in 2013. They also toured and it did popular YouTube covers, content, all that good stuff. And they released an EP all in that same year. Yes, these girls were on their grind. Their EP reached number 6 on the Billboard 200, and in November 13, they released a Spanish version of their EP called Juntos, which did massively well, peaking at number 2 on the Latin charts. These EPs targeted the tween Latin demographic, and they were successful at it. Since 3 people in the group were fluent Spanish speakers, well, I think Ali knows some Spanish, but definitely Lauren and Camila was fluent. During this era, the girls definitely had an audience, so much so that in 2014 of July, they toured with Austin Mahone and Shawn Mendes. Do y'all remember Austin Mahone? Oh my god. The group documented the tour with Awesomeness TV, and oh my god, that channel is like the Teen Nick of YouTube, but the trashy version, the trashy ghetto version, whatever, you have to experience it. In their videos, you could see how the individual members had their own personality. Dinah was the non-confrontational, happy-go-lucky girl. Ali was the happy, chill mom of the group. Lauren was the edgy, sensitive, bad girl. Camila, the quirky, cheery girl. Normani was the pretty black girl who could dance. And also, I would like to know that Mahone his tour, when they went on tour with him, that was technically the 8th tour that they had under their belt, and they were still supporting their EP. They had so many mini tours throughout the whole 2013 year, so it was like the fact that that was their 8th tour in 2014. They'd already been out for like 2 years. My God. Anyway, so we're gonna fast forward to the group's deterioration. Camila left the group near the end of 2016, which caused a dent in the group's popularity. Camila was technically the most popular girl in the group because she marketed herself a lot as a solo artist while she was with the group, so she became popular. Anyways, when the news broke about her departure, the girls went back and forth. It was kind of messy, and not to mention there was a shady MTV performance that served well for the relevancy for the group. And when they released their album, their last album, Fifth Harmony, in 2017, it reached number 4 on the Billboard 200. And during that year, in 2017, the girls started doing more collabs on their own, like gearing up for the solo careers. But before they went solo, the girls did one last tour together called the PSA Tour, which had a lot less dates compared to their other tours, and quickly went on hiatus in 2018. During the last year, the 2017 year, the girls had their own solo projects going on, like I mentioned before. Lauren was releasing music, and so was Normani. She was releasing covers of Solange songs like Cranes in the Sky and Don't Touch My Hair. And then in April 2018, she signed with RCA. So I know I kind of keep going back and forth between 2017 and 2018, but bear with me. Now, I quickly talked about the group's history because I wanted to touch on Normani's exit plan. Like, she didn't have enough time to fully set up her solo career while she was in the group, unlike some people. But just like Kelly, Beyonce, and the horse before her, along with numerous K-pop acts, you release singles throughout the time in the group, and this is important. You give it time so you can build your individual fan base, and then you leave when the group is at its peak of popularity. Though I can't fault Normani's bad exit strategy all on her, because she was prohibited from doing solo work throughout the majority of the time while she was in the group because of her contract. Camila had a different arrangement, which is why she fared better going solo. Besides, if she was going to flex her solo muscles, another alternative would be to stay in the group, take a year off, then regroup, then build your popularity, having your individual audience, and then you go solo. Let's be honest, if Fifth Harmony came back today, it would be a moment. It would be the moment. Because I feel like, first of all, there's a huge gap of girl groups, Western girl groups. And, you know, it would be great for a career. Because I mentioned earlier that the group was still on the come up. They weren't household names. So Normani went solo at a bad time. And there's some tea about the group not selling enough during their tour, or their album not making enough money or something like that. Like, they were overcompensating in how they were doing financially, allegedly. Normani's narrative right when she went solo was being the black girl in the group, to being the girl with the best stage presence, to being the girl being harassed online by racist trolls, to being mistreated in the group, to now the girl being sabotaged by the industry. It's a sad story all over. Like, Normani is a victim of the music industry. Currently, she could be like a sad tale, like one of those stories you reference when talking about how horrible the industry would be. Granted, she doesn't have a musical identity, and the public doesn't know who she is to be able to connect with her, but those are fixable small problems compared to the big main problem. The main problem, and the one I don't know if she'll overcome, is the sabotage. Like, we all know it's happening, and it can be from multiple sources, but it's hard to succeed in an industry where it doesn't want to see you win. It might be one of those reasons why she's not consistent. Like, what's the point of working hard and seeing nothing for your hard work? She could also be scared of making a wrong move and thinking that everything is going to be over for her. But still, I would think it would be better for her to put out something consistently or do something to help her stay relevant. Because if you don't try at all, you know yourself a failure. At least when you're trying, there's still a chance for you to succeed. Now, back to the artist development checklist. I know I've been kind of all over the place, and this is supposed to be informational primarily. But anyways, there are 5 main things for artist development. Number 1 is the story, the narrative. Well, like I mentioned earlier, she was the mistreated black girl in the group, and now she's still the mistreated black girl in the industry. But she hasn't found her sound, and her public doesn't know who she is as a person, so she isn't doing so well in that arena. Number 2, her image. Looking through Normani's Twitter, and I had to look through her Twitter because she deleted all her Instagram posts, which is really annoying. She definitely has that classy, sexy, borderline, raunchy editorial alternative look down. If you see the pics, you know what I mean. During the beginning of her career, she was getting very much pretty girl next door with some high production, to now she has sex all over her with high class vibes. Her pictures are fantastic, and they're actually really, really good. Maybe I'll actually really do a video on it later on. So her image is down-packed. And so number 3, her values. I have no idea what they are. I know she's an advocate for breast cancer survivors, but I don't know much else. On to number 4, Number 4 and number 5 is kind of the same. Her mission and her goals, or her values. Or her mission or her purpose? Sorry, I forgot. Anyways, it's one of the others. 4 or 5, whatever. Why did she do the whole pop thing? Well, from multiple interviews, she talks about representation for dark-skinned black girls. So it definitely hits with her audience, and she has a passion for performing and dance. So yeah, we all know that. So my last and final words, I want Normani to put out content consistently, no matter the obstacles. I want her to keep trying and I get discouraged, because at the end of the day, if she is still in demand, she will be successful. So we as her fans have to be watchful at these things going on around her and to her, because that's the only way I can see it stopping. And I pray for her. Like, I really hope she does well. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. See ya.